Hello, everyone, and welcome to our guided newspaper reading session. I hope I'm audible to everyone. So, as you know, we conduct these reading sessions 3 times in a week, and each time you get to learn something new. Now, today we have a very interesting article, but before I begin with that, I want you to understand why these reading classes can help you. So, there are 4 sections in the IELTS exam. First is the reading, then we proceed to the writing, speaking, and what's the last one? Reading, writing, speaking, and listening. That's correct. So I will be speaking here, you will be listening to me, we'll be reading, and then here you can also get ideas and phrases that can help you in your reading, on your listening, speaking, and writing as well. So you get to practice all of the sections here with this one reading class. What I want you to do here is whenever I introduce a new phrase to you, or if I tell you the meaning of a new word, I want you to note it down so that you can use it in your upcoming test. You can use it to enhance your vocabulary and you can use it to enhance your English in general. So these reading classes really are beneficial for all. And in fact, you can also let me know if there's any problems that you encounter. You can share that with us in our comment section. And we'll do a quick revision of all the words we learn at the end of the class. So today there is a very important there's a very important article that I have for you today. It is about Chandrayaan 3, and everyone knows that India made a historic event happen with the landing of Chandrayaan 3. Now, why was it such a historic moment, and how many people were involved in it, and just how many people were the forces behind making this dream a possibility? We'll get to learn about the background of it from this article. Now, as you can see that the topic for this is space exploration, so exploration of the space in general. The journal we are reading it from is Scientific American, and the title for this article is Chandrayaan 3 makes historic touchdown on the moon. The successful lunar landing of the Chandrayaan 3 mission makes India only the fourth country to achieve that feat. So there are only total 4 countries who have so far achieved the landing. That means lunar landing. Lunar refers to anything that's related to the moon. Solar is anything that's related to the sun, and lunar is anything that's related to the moon. So the landing of Chandrayaan 3 makes India the fourth nation, the fourth country to have done this. To achieve the feat, it means to achieve something. Feat here refers to whatever task you have done. So feat is the task of landing the rover on the moon. So you can see here's a very nice picture of people waving the flag here in front of everyone. And here's the place, Bengaluru, India, from where this person is reporting. So let's start reading this. Quiet moments of nail-biting tension gave way to cheers of joy in the Indian Space Research Organization Mission Control Center as the space agency sent its lunar lander and India into the annals of history. So annals here, this is a new word. But let's first understand whatever is going on. Nail biting tension. You know, when you become very tense, you start biting your nails, and that's a physical response you have to having a lot of tension, having a lot of anxiety, not knowing what is going to happen next. That's nail biting tension. That tension turned into cheers of joy in the Indian Space Research Organization, which is the full form for ISRO Mission Control Center, as the space agency sent its lunar lander and India into the annals of history. So it's a historic moment here. As you can see, I introduced you to one new phrase, which is nail biting tension, and annals is just another word for records. So anything that can be recorded in history. So here's one new word for you. It's called annals, the annals of history. It just means a record or a record. Okay. Let's move on to the next line. On August 23rd, 12:33 p.m. UTC, India's Chandrayaan-3 mission's robotic lander named Vikram touched down on the moon near its south pole. Launched on July 14th, Chandrayaan-3 was the result of ISRO doubling down on its bet on lunar landing after the unfortunate crash of Chandrayaan-2 mission in 2019. With the spacecraft now safely on the moon, ISRO's efforts have paid off, and India has become the fourth country to achieve a soft lunar landing, following the former Soviet Union, the US, and China. So, as you can see here, they have just described what has happened in the past. So, in the case of Chandrayaan 2, there was an unfortunate crash. So, that space rover landed on the moon, but it crashed, as opposed to the soft landing. So, soft landing means just landing softly on the surface of the moon and not crashing. So, that landing was achieved by Chandrayaan 3. Doubling down means even after you've done something, you do something more. So, even after the crash of Chandrayaan 2, they started a new mission called Chandrayaan 3. Let's start reading from here. Chandrayaan 3's entire lunar descent had to be fully autonomous. So here's another new word for you. It's called autonomous. Autonomous. Autonomous means independent, right? So whatever this new landing was supposed to be, the lunar descent, to descend means to go down. So it's going down on the surface of the moon. To ascend means to go up, to descend means to go down. So, independent. Autonomous means independent without any aid. It had to be completely done by the people who were in charge of the Chandrayaan. During this crucial stage of the mission, signals take about 3 seconds to go from the lander to Earth and back again. A delay too long for Earthbound ISRO engineers to reliably guide the landing. So the engineers could not guide the landing. Why not? Because 3 second delay was taking place. A 3 second delay was always taking place. And in the 3 seconds that the scientists would get the information that the lander is doing something and then they'd get back to it, it would be too long of a difference. So they couldn't afford it. So it was the task of Vikram. So Vikram's task was to reduce its high orbital velocity to zero such that it would stay as close to its intended trajectory as possible, all the way until a safe touchdown. So this is a very physics term, astrophysics term. I cannot really explain it. But touchdown is to land on something. That is what the word touchdown means. So I hope you're taking notes. To do so, it needed to orchestrate the firing of its engines based on continuous measurements of distance, velocity, and orientation. So, measurements of distance. And this new word, orchestrate. To orchestrate means to facilitate, to design something, to program something, and to just how in the orchestra there are many instruments. To orchestrate something is to bring together a variety of factors to make something possible. Okay, so I hope you're getting all of these words. To stick the landing this time, ISRO built far more redundancies and safeguards into Chandrayaan 3 than it had for Chandrayaan 2. In an August 5 talk detailing these changes, ISRO's chief S. Somanath emphasized how Chandrayaan 3 carried more fuel and a better guidance, navigation, and control system to correct even major deviations from the intended path. So the chief of ISRO, Mr. S. Somanath, he detailed in his talk on August 5th that Chandrayaan 3 is very different from Chandrayaan 2. Because even if Chandrayaan 3 goes away from its trajectory, goes away from its path, deviates. So here's a word for you to deviate. Deviate means to go away from what you're supposed to do. So even if it goes away, it can still come back on track due to the instructions programmed into this rover. There were improvements to 21 subsystems for Chandrayaan 3. These changes have been reinforced by numerous helicopter and crane-based ground tests, says Nilesh Desai, director of ISRO's Space Applications Center (SAC) in Ahmedabad, India. Evidently, these improvements have culminated in the triumphant touchdown of Chandrayaan 3. Here's another new word for you. It's culminated. Finished or concluded. So culmination is just the ending of something. To culminate means to finish something or to conclude something. What is the conclusion of it? All of that. That's what culminated means. So all of these efforts have ended up and have culminated in a triumphant touchdown. Triumphant means something that has emerged as a winner, and this Chandrayaan emerged as a winner, as a triumphant touchdown of Chandrayaan 3. This success wasn't a given, especially when considering that 4 out of the previous 6 lunar landing attempts within the past 5 years have failed. So, in the past 5 years, there have been 6 lunar landing attempts made all across the world, not just India, and all of them have failed. The latest failure occurred on August 19 when Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft misfired its engines and crashed into the moon, a brutal reminder that getting to the lunar surface in one piece remains risky. So Russia itself had sent another rover to the moon and it crashed, unfortunately. Luna 25 thus joins the ruins of the Israel-based company Space IL's Beresheet in India's Chandrayaan 2 and the private Japanese firm iSpace Hakuto R spacecraft. So here's a bunch of other landers that have been done, and these are the failed ones, and they're also from some private Japanese places. China's Chang 4 and Chang 5 landers are the only successful ones. So the only successful landers that have happened in the recent years have been the Chang 4 and the Chang 5. We have a tremendous responsibility to inspire India and the world at levels no less than this landing, said Sankaran Muthuswamy, director of the U.R. Rao Satellite Center, URSC, and the ISRO Center that led to the construction and integration of the Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft and mission. So ISRO was the one involved in the construction of Chandrayaan 3, and this person, Sankaran Muthuswamy, said that they have a great responsibility. So tremendous means great. Tremendous is another new word for you. The word tremendous means great or something on a large scale. So they have a huge responsibility to inspire India. Now here is the story of how Chandrayaan 3 made it to the moon. Chandrayaan 3's about 19-minute long lunar descent comprised 4 major phases. The first, the rough braking phase, began when the spacecraft was 30 kilometers above the moon in its orbit and about 750 kilometers downrange from its landing site. By firing all of its 4 800 Newton main engines for about 12 minutes until it was at 7 kilometers altitude, Chandrayaan 3 reduced its high horizontal velocity of about 1.7 kilometers per second by some 80%. So this is just technical stuff, really no new words for us to learn here right now. Next came a brief but crucial 10-second attitude hold phase, wherein the lander stabilized itself using its 8 small thrusters to gain a steady view of the looming lunar surface for its various landing sensors. So this is about the landing of the spacecraft onto the surface. Here is another word for you. The word is looming. Looming means something that is about to happen, or something that is about to be seen, or appearing as a shadowy form. So here, I think the meaning for this would be looming, would be appearing as a shadowy. All right. So this would be looming. I hope you understand this. Great. Okay, instead the microwaves, okay, for height measurements, Chandrayaan-3 relied on two altimeters, one using lasers and the other using microwaves. While laser altimeters are commonly employed by several lunar landers, they can report anomalous heights at times. So here is another new word for you. It's anomalous. Anomalous means anything out of the ordinary. So anything that is unusual and out of the ordinary will be anomalous. I hope you keep this word in mind. We are learning so many new words on this one, and it really is a very, very proud moment for India. For height measurements, it relied on two altimeters. Okay, we've read this. Um, okay, so I don't think there's any new word here. Let's just go here. Why the past landings failed. So this is all just about the intricate mechanism that went into making Chandrayaan a possibility, and what were the things that they could learn from the past. Great. So let's go to this part. This is more relevant. Chandrayaan 3 feeds into the global frenzy of sending hardware to the moon. Frenzy is a sort of a panic. Okay? So here's another new word for you. It's called frenzy. Frenzy is a panic. So there's a new panic about sending hardware, about sending things into the space, onto the moon. And these are the things that are taking over the world right now, especially its South Pole. The US's upcoming Artemis crewed missions, China's Chang'e robotic craft, and the majority of other governmental as well as private endeavors, such as those under NASA's CLPS program, plan to explore this valuable lunar region. So the South Pole appears to be a very, very important region. Why is that so? They eventually aim to extract its water, ice, and other resources to sustain long duration missions and perhaps even to commercialize aspects of such operations. So, a lot of this is just to harvest water ice from the south pole of the moon. It was thus quite the timing when, on June 21st, India signed the Artemis Accords, a US led framework for cooperative lunar exploration. As a signatory, India can now accelerate its lunar endeavors by better collaborating with the US and other signatory nations. So, here's two new words for you. Signatories. Signatories are anyone who has signed something. So you agree to something or you sign something, then you become a signatory. Then you go to this word collaborating. Collaborating means to join hands with another person or another organization to come together. So this is it will be the new for the newspaper reading today. I hope you could understand and extract all the wonderful things that you learned about the Chandrayaan 3. And remember to have all these important words in your dictionary so that you can utilize them for your upcoming exams and you can broaden your vocabulary and also work on your general knowledge. Remember, we conduct these sessions every other day. So today is Thursday. The next session for the Guardian newspaper class will be on Saturday. I hope to see you there and I hope that you have learned something invaluable from this session. Thank you very much for attending our Guardian newspaper session. I'll see you in the next one.